Bye, Mr. Marty. Bye.
Are you showing off for Mr. Marty? Yes, they see your feet. You done hi, y'all.
Bye.
Alright.
I'm walking out.
Tell them bye.
Hi.
Say bye, Marty.
Bye.
Say bye, Mr. Marty.
Bye, Mr. Marty.
Alright. Okay.
Bye, everybody.
So see you next week.
See you next week.
You're a crab?
Yes.
Okay.
Mommy, I think Carrie is pooping.
No.
Oh.
Carrie's at a meeting. Go.
Okay. Is she need to poop?
Alright. Mr. Marty, if you're watching, you always say you watch the opening announcements. That one was for you. They missed you this morning, if you can't tell. So they're all about some Mr. Marty. Alright, today we are talking about the angry woman, and we're just going to get right into it. We're talking about someone who doesn't get angry every once in a while. The way I want us to take this lesson is someone who stays angry, is angry all the time, every single day. So how do we deal with our anger? You know, and there's some days you wake up and it's just going to be a bad day. You know it's going to be a bad day as soon as your feet hit the floor. But then there's some days that everything's going good and then something happens and you just get angry. Like I told you a couple weeks ago, we went through an episode of 2 or 3 days where a dish got broke. Lately we've had some issues going on in our neighborhood. How do we deal with that anger? What do we do? Do we yell? Do we vent? Do we say bad words? Do we sin in our anger? Or do we just sit back and not do anything? That's what we're going to talk about. How, as a Christian, should we handle our anger? And we're going to look at, obviously, we're doing the book of Proverbs, so we're going to look at what the Proverbs say about anger. In Proverbs 16:32, one who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and one who rules her spirit than he who captures a city. So, the one who is slow to anger is better than the mighty. So, what do? We have to be slow to anger. We can't just, when something upsets us, scream, yell, fly off the handle, so to speak. When the tempest rages, the billows roar, and people lose their heads, we admire a woman of faith whose strength quietly holds. We admire the person who can keep her composure, who's calm, cool, and collective, as we always have heard. The angry woman will fuss about all the reasons that they are unsuccessful. The angry woman will talk about all the shortcomings of those around her, and she will fume about daily circumstances. Hopefully, that doesn't describe you. Do we constantly find fault with others, and it's somebody else's fault that we're unsuccessful, that we didn't get that raise, we didn't get that promotion, we didn't get that particular job, we didn't get, I want to say the child we're wanting, but you don't get to choose, you get what you get. We didn't get whatever, fill in the blank. We didn't get the friend that we wanted, we didn't get the class we wanted, we didn't get the things that we wanted, and we become angry. When we talk, is what we talk about only about the shortcomings of everybody. I'm better than so-and-so, why is this not happening to her? Or she already has an abundance of this and I really need some, why am I not getting this? Do we fume about daily circumstances that we're unwilling to change? So-and-so's life is so much better. They never have problems. They're always happy. Blah, 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 blah. If this describes you, you're the angry woman that we're talking about today. There are 5 things an angry woman does. And I hate to say it, all 5 things are not good things. The first thing angry women do is they drive people away. And we see this in Proverbs 21:9 and 25:4. It says, "It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than in a house shared with a contentious, quarrelsome woman." When you are angry, you drive people away. Think about that. I know when Matt and I have had arguments, especially when we have kids, If we start having an argument, those kids run. They know mama and daddy aren't happy. They know mama and daddy are going to probably come after them if we keep interrupting, if we keep standing there and trying to get in the middle of it. What happens? We're in church and some people arguing. What do? We don't huddle around. We all what? We clear the room, right? Same way in the workplace. I've had this issue before where you're called out in front of all your coworkers. And what do? They back away. All of a sudden it's lunchtime, or they need to go to the bathroom, or they need to go to the back. You drive people away with your anger. And then what happens when the fight's over, when the quarrel's over, and you're angry? You have that look of anger. Does people come running up to you? Not unless they're just nosy. They kind of leave you alone, don't they? We push people away when we're angry. The second thing, angry women annoy and irritate. Proverbs 27:15 says, a continual dripping on a very rainy day and a contentious woman are alike. They are annoying. They are annoying. You don't want to be around somebody who's angry all the time. It doesn't make you a happy person. The third thing they do is they make you look like fools. Or they look like a fool. They don't make you look like a fool. The angry person looks like a fool. Proverbs 14:17 and 12:16 say, a quick-tempered person acts foolishly. A fool's wrath is known at once. So not only do you drive people away, you annoy and you irritate people, and you look like a fool. And that's not it. We still got 3 more, so there's 6, not 5. The fourth one is you agitate. You agitate others. A harsh word stirs up anger. 15:1. When you're angry, how many times out of that anger do you make the situation worse, or you take it out on somebody else? Again, the workplace, your family, neighborhood, wherever you're at with people, friends, somebody makes you mad. What do? You lash out on somebody else, or you go gripe and complain to them, or you try to get them to pick sides, and you always make the situation worse. We agitate. The fifth thing is angry women aggravate. In Proverbs 15:18, a wrathful man stirs up strife. This is what we talked about. It goes with agitate. You're aggravating. It's like you're never satisfied until you have one up on the other person. When you're angry, you aggravate. And the last thing angry people do is they harm and they hurt. And we see this in Proverbs 27:4. Wrath is cruel and anger is a torrent. All these things are bad. I do not want to be around people who are angry. I don't want to be driven away. I don't want to be annoying and irritable. I don't want to look like a fool. I don't like agitating. I don't like aggravating. And I don't want to be harmed, and I don't want to be hurtful. So why in the world would I ever want to be the angry woman? But on the flip side of that, we all can relate to these things. We all have driven people away. We have, whether it be a family member, whether it be a coworker, whether it be a church person we go to, whether it's in the past, in the future, not in the future, but in the present, we have hurt somebody's feelings. We have been angry in every situation in our life, wherever we're at, whether it's home life, church life, work life, social life, whatever life, we have made somebody angry. We have been annoyed, and I'm sure we have irritated some people. Pretty sure we've all been made out to look like a fool every now and then. We've probably agitated, and I know we've aggravated some people, and we've probably hurt people. We gotta watch that as a Christian. So now, those are all bad things of anger. But as we know in the Bible, anger sometimes, keyword sometimes, is not bad. So we're gonna we're gonna go to the Bible for this one, and we're gonna look at examples of people who were angry in the Bible, but angry for the right reasons. But it's not so much that they were angry, it's how they handled it. They didn't drive people away. They didn't annoy. They didn't look like a fool. They didn't aggravate. They didn't harm people. They just took care of the situation. The first person we're going to look at is Moses. We're going to look at Exodus 32:19 and 20. And in this scenario, we know Moses was a man of God, but he got angry, didn't he? Actually, I can think of another one, but the one they're talking about here is when he came down and he destroyed the golden calf that the people had made. He melted it and he made them drink it. He was angry. He was angry that God's people made these idols. And in that anger, he destroyed what they had. He didn't hurt the people, He got rid of the idol. He got rid of the false god. But he was angry. And I can think of another one. What happens when he came down from the mountain with those brand new tablets of 10 Commandments? He was angry. But what did he do in that anger? He broke the tablets. So he had to go back and get another set. But he was angry. So we know people get angry. The next one we're going to talk about is in Judges 20, verse 6. We're talking about a Levite. Okay, and we all know Levites were priests from the tribe of Levi. And there was this particular Levite who had a concubine. And this concubine was abused all night. Now, without going in detail, and I didn't really study up on this, but in my mind, abused means in a sexual way. Probably physically as well, but in a sexual way, abused all night. Ultimately, she died. Okay? Her body then was cut into pieces out of anger. Out of anger. Harmful, right? The angry person, what they do, they hurt and they harm. Not only was she abused all night, but then, just out of pure meanness, pure anger, her body was cut into pieces. The next person we're talking about is David. Lots of situations with David, but this one's going to be particular, David and Nathan. 2 Samuel 12, verse 5. David wanted justice after hearing what Nathan had done. So David's anger was greatly aroused against the man, against Nathan. As the Lord lives, the man who has done this will surely die. Is what David said. As sure as the Lord lives, you are going to die. I'm going to kill you. David's anger forced him to judge his own sinful actions. So he did something completely wrong. He was in sin. He was in error. But his anger forced him to. When we are angry, we do things we typically would not do. I'm not going to say our anger forces us to do stuff, but it makes us not think logically. It makes us want to go out and harm the other person instead of trying to solve it. Should not be that way. So the next one, I didn't write this one down, but I think we all know one is Jesus. The most famous thing is, oh, Jesus never got angry. Jesus is a loving God. Jesus doesn't get angry. Yes, he does. What's the most famous account of this? Clearing the temple. He goes in and turns the money changers' tables everywhere. You see all the kids' pictures. The money's flying. The people are standing with their mouth open like, I can't believe Jesus is doing this. He's angry. They made his temple the den of robbers. He did not like it. He got angry. So, the bottom line, the question is anger sinful? Is it sinful? So to answer this question, we got to look at it. Sinful anger looks inward. Me, me, me. How does this affect me? How does it change my plans? How does it make me look? What is my image to people? How does it portray me? Me, 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 me. That's sinful anger. Sinful anger when we only care about us and how things relate to us. Selfish anger attacks with harsh words. We see that in Proverbs 15, verse 1. Proverbs 16:32. Selfish anger lashes out at the culprit with burning words. We lash out. We attack with harsh words. Sinful anger. That's the angry woman we should not be. But there is a righteous anger. The righteous anger looks outward. How is this going to affect the helpless? How is this going to affect the hopeless? Is it truthful? How is it going to affect the church? How is it going to affect the whole story? How is it going to affect others? I don't care if it crushes me. I don't care if I was in the wrong. But how is my anger going to reflect on others? You know, the ripple of consequences. You know, you always have consequences during your anger. Always, always. How is it going to affect others? Outwardly, so we're going to call that righteous anger. When we don't care about how we feel, we're caring about how it's going to be to other people. Righteous anger ignites slowly. We see that in Proverbs 14, verse 17. It ignites slowly. Slow to anger. We don't easily fly off the handle. We may not like it. We may not like what we hear. We may not like the situation, but we are slow to anger. We hear them out. Righteous anger aims to correct what is amiss to the glory of God. We still want to be pleasing to God. We want to correct the wrong, but we want to do it in a way that is pleasing to God. And we see that in Proverbs 19:11. So we see, and until I did this devotional or studied this, I just thought anger was anger, right? I've always heard anger's okay unless you sin during your anger, okay? Control your tongue, control your temper, take control of yourself. You always know that anger has consequences. It takes two people, at least two people, to make somebody angry, okay? So somebody's going to get hurt. But I never thought about, do I only care about me when I'm angry? Do I only care about making myself feel better? Do I ever stop and think about the other side? Do I ever stop and think about, how is this affecting other people? And I want to tell you, I don't. When I'm angry, I don't. I want to get even. I want to be right. I want to have the last word. I'm going to get to the bottom of it, and I don't care. You can storm off mad. You can leave. You can do whatever. Just as long as I get it off my chest, what I need to say. I don't care if I scar you for the rest of your life. Okay? A lot of people have that mindset. But if we stop and think about it, if we have the righteous anger. So if I stop and say, okay, I'm angry, let me think about it for a minute. And what I've learned to say is, I need a minute. Walk away. I don't want to talk to you right now. I hear you. I know the situation. We can address it later, but if we address it right now, then there's going to be an issue. Let me think about it. Let me cool off. Text it to me. Whatever you want to do. But let me cool off. And that has helped tremendously. Instead of, if we have to sit here and it has to be done right now. Now, it took 11 years to learn that. Still learning. Still working on it. But slow to anger. Slow to anger. Cool off. So it is okay to be angry at times. Now, it's not okay to be angry every day. We don't want to be the angry woman that we talked about at the very beginning. Who is we always talk about why we're always unsuccessful. We talk about the shortcomings of everybody, and we fume about our daily circumstances. We don't want to be that person. We don't want to be that angry person all day long or every day. But it's okay at times to be angry. But are we being a Christian in our anger? Or are we just lashing out and hurting others or hurting whoever is in our way? And I know that kind of sounds to me when I say that contradictory of, well, okay, you're an angry Christian. But when you stop and think about it, when you stop and say, okay, I'm angry. Being a Christian, number one, realizes you're angry. Being a Christian, like we said, ignites slowly. We don't just blow our top. We think about it. We calm down. We leave the situation. We leave the room. We leave the house. We leave whatever we got to do. We leave it for a while. Then we aim to correct in the glory of God. It reminds me also in the Bible, when you correct fellow Christians, when you correct somebody who's living in sin, you don't just go up and attack them and say, you're doing this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, and you're never going to make it to heaven. No. You create a relationship with them. You talk to them. You create a friendship. Then you're like, hey, what you're doing right now is just not really what you need to be doing. You're living a sinful life. You're doing this. That, to me, is doing it in the glory of God. You are thinking about it. You're first making sure you don't have the same sin going on in your life, but you're not doing it out of anger. Nobody likes to be talked to when someone's angry. Nobody likes to be yelled at. Nobody likes to have harsh words thrown at them. We have enough of that in the world. We shouldn't have that in church. We shouldn't have that with our Christian friends. We shouldn't. So, yes, it is okay to be angry. Yes, we are going to have inward anger. We're not going to have righteous anger all the time, but we need to work on righteous anger. So next week, we're going to talk about the gentle woman, kind of total opposite today. We talked about the rough woman, the mean woman, the hateful woman. Next week, we're going to talk about the gentle woman. So I hope everyone has a great week. And for those of you all getting ready to go back to school, enjoy your last couple of weeks. I know this weekend coming up is a big weekend to get everybody ready for school. So hope everybody has a great week, and I will see you all here next week.